We are back and we can focus on our shield again. And now I'm going to get into all of the raised, what you see here, the Cabal symbol and lettering here. I'm going to be using Retributor Armor. It's a nice golden metallic that is a really deep gold because I'll actually be dry brushing a Vallejo gold over top of it. So laying down a base metallic and then dry brushing with a lighter color. Um, it's going to create a cool effect. So we'll get that going here. And get our pot open. And again, we're laying down a base here. Don't want to drench it. We still want to be we still want it to be thin, but we want it to be manageable. So we're not going to, sorry about that, we're not going to be using our dry brush for this. We want to keep that dry brush dedicated for just that, dry brushing. Again, this is another dry brush that I use, but smaller, but again, too big for laying down the base. So I'm going to go back to this very handy flat bristled brush. All right, so get some paint on here, and we're just going to start working it in. And again, we don't want to be super heavy and globby. We want to keep a wet edge. We want to hit all these high points and just hold the brush lightly. You can really feel that paint going in there. And you can just move it. If you gotta flip the brush over, so be it. And if you have to a little more, just dab it in there. Just dab it in there and add some paint. Because you definitely want to lay down a nice opaque layer here. Don't want to be so thin that that white is showing through. You want to really capture all of the beauty of this Retributor Armor gold here. That's, when I look at it, I almost see a little bit of a brass to it. And I will say this, one coat will be sufficient, but you could even lay down another, once this dries, lay down another coat. It'll give it even deeper and richer effect. But that is not what well, I say that right now. I don't think that's what I'm going for. However, now and to be fair, I have painted these colors that I've picked out before. I've painted this scheme before, so I kind of already have a mental idea of how I think all these colors are going to work together. They're going to complement each other without overpowering. And again, I had mentioned that I'm going to be using that Vallejo, just straight up gold here, 70996 are the numbers on it. Actually, I'm going to pull some of that gold off. Those are the numbers on that Vallejo gold. So again, I want this base to work with the gold that's going to be over top of it. I want it to complement there. So, and having done this before, I like the effect. Now, if you do this and you're like, I really don't like that, pick a different gold base. Citadel makes, there's a lot of different paint makers out there. I won't say that one is better than another. Honestly, I think it comes down to is color and maybe sometimes layers of what you're working with. Again, like I'm using two different paint companies' product here. But I think they work really, really well together. However, finding a gold that I really like, I was using a different gold a couple years ago, something like that. And then I finally just gave in and said, I'm just going to get a bottle of this Vallejo gold, because the other gold that I had it was a little bit cumbersome to work with, but when finished, I'm really happy with it. And I mean, I look back and I remember some of the pieces that I was painting with, and now you'll notice I am going back through, and I'm just hitting a couple of areas here, a little bit more, instead of waiting for it to dry. I'm just hitting just a couple areas um, that are not dry. So perfect, boom, right there. Um, I look back at a couple pieces that I have used that other gold, and I think, well, those were those pieces, and now I'm moving on, and I really recommend this gold. Just for Tributor armor that I'm using right now, uh, you can get some really cool effects out of it, especially if you use a black base. So I talked about using the white base that I like so much. You can create a really cool effect by using a black base with this. And you can even use this to dry brush over top of. It is really unique paint. All right, so now getting into these letters, I've actually got a little bit more paint on the brush than I want. Because if I happen to pull the wrong way, I could actually create an issue for myself with a glob. I don't want to do that. And I don't want that to happen to you either. I want you to enjoy the piece that you're working on and hopefully provide some hope, some encouragement, some confidence, because a lot of what I'm doing are just simple things, taking your time, being patient with yourself, and as I'm painting, I'm appreciating the sculpt, and I'm looking at the piece, and I'm liking the colors that are coming together, so I'm finding enjoyment there. Like I'm really not in a rush for whatever I got to do or need to do, because right, life happens. But sometimes it's nice to push pause and get a brush in your hand and just think about what if this was my shield? Like literally, like what if I was, you know, in battle or and this was my shield. So, okay, so now that I've hit all of the high points, there are some fine-tuned detail points in there. I am not going to be able to do with this brush, so we're just going to get that on water. And then I'm going to grab one of my smaller brushes here, real small, real fine. Just going to poke it in there a little bit. Not when I say poke it, we're not actually poking it to the point that we're bending the bristle. We're just dipping it in just to get enough paint on it that we can do some of this really fine work. Small, controlled strokes. And it's okay to dip your brush as many times as you need. As for me, just finding enjoyment in the piece that I'm painting. I've said it once, I'll say it again. There is a beauty in painting with a priming with white, because I can very easily see all of the lines where the surfaces that are higher meet that of a lower area. I like that. It does present more of an obstacle to get in there, paint all the little detailed areas, but it also creates a dynamic level of realism with your piece. If you and if you ever have seen some really detailed, ornate work, and not just painting of action figures, but just some kind of detailed, ornate anything.